when you're engaging in an analytics enterprise at a municipal level, you've got, four buckets of challenges, right? Technological, cultural, political, and legal, and in no particular order. But technological is the easy one. It's a fraud endeavor to a certain degree because IT projects generally become, tangled up in inefficiencies. But I have a tendency to believe that's because of business failures, not technology failures. I think it's a challenge, but I think cross-agency transparency is a challenge, but it's not a challenge for the reasons most people believe. I think excuses get thrown out over the different ontologies that exist. The Department of Buildings, when it refers to a location, uses something called a building identification number. The Finance Department uses something called a borough block and lot. It's the land on which that building sits. The Post Office, of course, uses its own its address, right? And the first response agencies use latitudes and longitudes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what? If you try and fundamentally alter those, then you're actually losing the nuance that ontology gives that agency when it has to go out and do its job. Why would we want to go to a universal identifier when I think it's just not necessary at this point? The technology has advanced, and the data science has advanced to the stage where the barrier to entry, to synthesizing these different systems for purpose-driven reasons, right, can be affected rather simply. So we don't need to invest a ton of money in changing our ontologies. Those ontologies exist for a good reason, right? That helps that agency deliver its widget, right? So if we go in and tell them to change that, then we're making a big problem for ourselves that is just not necessary. What we need to do instead is be problem-driven. If somebody just wants to pull all of our information together just for the heck of it, right, then yeah, maybe everybody should move to a common format, right, or a common ontology anyway. And there are certain data formatting standards that should be common, right, like, so that we can publish it uniformly. But that doesn't mean the substance should change, right? So statistical techniques really it should be driven by why you're doing them in the first place. So why was I interested in merging what the Finance Department knew with what the Buildings Department knew, or what DEP knew with what DCA knew about where your licenses were? Well, because it was trying to fix a problem, right? So we were trying to send our inspectors out more effectively. So that's going to change the methods I use to cram this data together to a certain degree.